For summer, we ran a campaign called Book a Return. So again, instead of just trying to get people down once, the whole sentiment behind what we were doing was come once and come again. So repeatedly come back to the region across summer and across season as well. So that ran, a lot of it was focused online and in social media and throughout print. I guess it was around a time too where we were reviewing strategy and also our fiscal responsibility, and I certainly went in and reviewed the budget, and we did terminates and things, so I had a lot of pressure down on the team to really get the best bang for buck. So another example of picking up and responding to what is going on in the region was we had the eruptions, everybody's aware of that, at the mountain and at Tongariro, and so what we did was, instead of sitting back and letting the media manage us, we joint ventured with Department of Conservation and Visit Ruapehu, and we formed a group basically called Official Tongariro. So we launched this website literally within days of forming a joint venture partnership, and this was basically a landing area where people could go and get all official information about what was happening on the mountain, around the mountain, and then activities as well that you could actually tack on. So it was a really good one-stop shop for all of us to send media, for all of us to send visitors, and to stay communicating with the market. So
with a positive spin.
Just some finish on that, you know, obviously with the track ending at Emerald Lakes, have you had any feedback with the long dry hot summer? Have the numbers been really, really good still? Or?
I think we're really fortunate that we've got a number of operators that are really proactive. So what they've done is, instead of kind of sitting back, and we've been engaging a lot with them and Visit Ruapehu, is they've adapted their product. Yeah. And so we've got a lot of product up on the mountain now that is not doing the crossing, but doing an adaptation, and also focusing very much on the new features as well. So while you can't do the whole crossing, looking at, you know, the different the different colours, the different vents that are more active. So for people that are interested in that activeness, there's certainly the products are being adapted. So to answer your question directly, I guess, around numbers, the numbers are still going up there, they're just doing different things. Yep. So yeah. Eyesights certainly form part of the review that we're doing. First and foremost, the new board and I and the industry are looking at resetting our strategy. We've got our draft SOI on the table with a different direction, but I just wanted to raise that a review of what we're doing with the eyesights is underway. We haven't actually got to any solution or conclusion around everything. We have implemented some things that are going to help the revenue. However, the relocation of the travel centre has been pretty much the key and core focus really for this first sort of 3 or 4 months that I've been on board. But yeah, we're really looking at inside our house, so like how we are using our point of sale, how it's integrated into finance, and all of those things as well. So looking at the kind of health and wealth of the eyesights is certainly a priority.
Yeah. Question, sorry. Just regards to the eyesights, if you're going to be doing development or looking into them. Like, went to the Turangi one today and I was really impressed. You go in there and it's really interesting and lots to see. But I was just having a look at where does it say about Mangakino and what you can do there. I had to search for a long time, and then finally at the bottom under big sign that says Turangi I found one pamphlet. But I just wondered, like, there's signs that say Turangi and signs that say Taupo, and there's an array of pamphlets which obviously they have a lot more to offer, commercially than what Mangakino does. But nowhere did it say Mangakino, and there's only one pamphlet, and if I was a tourist I would think, oh, that must be in Turangi and what is it, and I would probably even pick it up. Okay. So yeah, just making it like it's actually a place, not it's not just a pamphlet amongst everything else. And also there was a really great pamphlet, the 10 Great Rides. In Mangakino we're thinking that the Waikato River Trails is going to feature hugely for our economic development. Sure. And within that pamphlet it doesn't, the Waikato River Trails doesn't even have the word Mangakino or whakamaru in it. So I've brought that up before, and they said on the next lot of pamphlets they would include those words. But just as part of a district, we always feel left out. The eyesight used to be in one of our shops. We had the eyesight sign, and they used to have pamphlets for our area. That no longer exists. There's kind of no eyesight type thing available in Mangakino to get information. As a tourist, you get there and there's nothing.
It's a really interesting point, Kirsty, and I think what we're really trying to do is actually come out to the communities and see what they want as well. Yep. So again, cool. That's in our process of like, right. So I've been out to Mangakino just last Friday, and the board were out there as well, and we had like a focus group or a discussion around, you know, like what were the key priorities for Mangakino, and for yeah, there's been a lot of work done kind of and just to relate to the process, Turangi around setting up an entity so that community has a voice back into like our team, and so the community voice comes into the planning process as well. And we spoke to the group that turned up out at Mangakino about that whole process as well, because I think rather than, I guess, guessing what is best, it's best to hear it from the community, and so you raise a really, really valid point.
And through the SOI, one of the things that we've identified is the collaborative approach. So it's up to businesses also in Mangakino to possibly use a leverage effect back towards DGLT. So it's a two-way engagement.
And I think historically they always feel like, oh, they don't care about us, they don't want to include us, we're never included, so they just give up. I think that's so be great if going forward, yeah, it sounds awesome that you're engaging
as well.
Yeah.
Just in the interest of time,
Councillor
Williams has got a hand up. I just wondered, just to intervene there a little bit, if you go out there and have working groups, would it be helpful if perhaps Kirsty were there with you?
I'm pretty sure Kirsty was invited to the working group, so we sent an invitation out to the whole.
I think going through Kirsty's baby out there. No, that's fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Kirsty is always welcome to come to those things. But yeah, just from a I guess it's more from a, you raise a really good point. We're on it and we're all over it. So yeah, and already engaged. So I think it's really important that the community has a voice, so it comes this way rather than us coming out with like the initiatives.
Councillor Williams?
Yeah, just with regards to your strategic overview that you did on your operations. Last time we heard from you that it sounded as if there was some question over whether in fact the eyesights were your core business, but now I'm getting the impression from your presentation today that indeed you are putting some strong focus there. So just going forward, is this something that you see as still hanging on the coattails of Destination Great Lake Taupo, or do you see another direction for these eyesights?
I think it's definitely a matter of process, Nicola, and we want to go in there and review and make sure that, you know, how the eyesights, where they're positioned in the community, the services they give, and, you know, what I guess sort of like pulse there is around, do they actually remain a really significant part? Do we integrate them into a sort of like morphed or new place, because the tourism and travel industry definitely moves quickly and is dynamic. So I guess we're in a process of going, do they still belong? They are a significant part, and how can we do things better and make sure that everything is performing at best sort of practice and, you know, going forward.
When all said and done, they are still the shop face for our industry, and I think that it's important that we remember that, and we don't rush into something.
Right. Yeah. I guess the next steps, really, I'll just quickly go over them because these are the things that really have been done since I've been on board and with the changeover of the board. So we did review our strategic plan, and we've done the first cut of the draft, and we have gone out to a number of stakeholder groups. There's a real focus around keeping it real, and actually those are the things that this region can certainly not have taken away. So natural landscape, all of those things are very much like where we want to put our focus strategically. 3 really key areas: investing in our people and capability within the region, collaborating and joint venture with fellow regions, but also fellow financial partners, i.e. being, you know, operators as well as potentially commercial operators, and then also taking a special interest approach to marketing versus just pure regional. And what I mean by that is selecting some areas like mountain biking, like ski and snow, like youth, so that we can really drill down and work with experts in those fields to be really effective and actually work most effectively with regional partners like on that as well. So, like I said earlier, this is the last slide. We went out and interviewed a number of operators just to get a pulse as to like where we are right now. So this is a retrospective report, but what's happening right now this summer, we have certainly had some really positive feedback from the accommodation sector. Motels and hotels that have experienced, best months in January, February, and really tracking up with forward bookings already being registered in March. Our activity operators, many of them are feeling, and it attributes hugely to weather, we know that, but a lot of the outdoor activity operators, again, are having, in comparison to the last couple of summer seasons, are having a really corker summer. So it's actually feeling quite positive out in the tourism industry, and I think we're certainly doing our best to keep that tracking into the winter season. So if you have any questions, I'm sure Kathy and I will be happy to answer.
Right, Councillor Henderson.
Yeah, just a couple of them. I'm looking at the forecast budget going forward, and there's a couple of issues I'd just like to hear a bit more on. Really.
Yep.
One's the overheads issue, which is been an ongoing thing, and I see some of these you've been now managing in-house. I'm just keen to hear what some things you're looking to make or can make and how that transition's going. And the other one was just digital web. I see there's 145k down here for a new website build. My first question was, are we building a new website? And just some general comments around where the digital strategy is going.
Okay, so the digital strategy is probably one of my key areas of focus, apart from the other sort of things. It's certainly an area where I had quite a lot of experience. So part of the review was to actually look at our suppliers. The supplier that delivers our website currently didn't fit where we're going forward, and so that whole digital space is not just the website, but it will be content production, it will be working alongside people to actually produce content, because I'm not sure if everyone knows, but content on the web is king. So that's working with filmmakers and photographers and not just building a website. So my view is that you cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. Again, it would be very remiss of me to just come in and clean the floor. So we're working alongside the current supplier now to work them out. We work in a closed source environment, and it's just not meeting our needs. So my view is we review it, we rebuild with a view to decline or reduce the spend around the digital space versus increase.
So just to follow up, if I'm hearing what you're saying, essentially the site that we've got there isn't fit for purpose of what we want to do with it.
It's not, it's not delivering on every level the way that we should be actually delivering, and mainly it's to do with the management of the content. Yeah. So we need more fluid management of the content. Okay. So
Because I've got to fulfil my role as a public person with ratepayers' funds, I think it's good that these issues are being looked at, and I commend that. But I pointed out in previous meetings on this subject with regards to the website, the expend, which is somewhere in the vicinity of $250,000 a year that I briefly attribute to, has been significant. And so if we're changing direction, which it sounds like we are to me, and that site's been identified to some degree as being not fit for purpose, I think that's been a very poor use of funds up to this point. We've gone down that road, and I just brought people's attention to it. I have raised that before, but I am glad that some of these things have been recognised and we're moving.
And I think that it'll be more around an evolution as technology changes and the demands dependent on what kind of content, whether it's video embedded into a website or what, that will determine the spend. So the 145 definitely is not just building.
Just one other quick question on that. Do you see the site as future being a transactional website? If we as a present, we can transact on it?
I guess if you take a step back, that's kind of what I was referring to when talking to Nicola around the interfacing, and I shouldn't jump ahead too far, but we need to review everything to make sure that we are future-proofed properly. So there's a number of platforms of technology that certainly could, but they are available today. However, we need to look at, like what our core business is. Is that best fit going forward? And possibly yes, but possibly no too. So what we don't want to do is compete with ourselves. So yeah.
Councillor Williams?
Oh yes, well, like Councillor Henderson, I think we have, has been drawn to the attention that the digital web has been a major cost, and I find it disappointing that that new website was built just I think less than 2 years ago, and I would just I see that you're reviewing it, but I would just strongly suggest that you you choose providers that are moving with the times, because this is a huge cost, and it seems to be a bit unnecessary with regards to that. But I take on your other points in that regard. Getting down to the TDC overheads, this does seem to be taking out, of course, that does include payroll, disregarding that, but there still must be a reasonable amount there. And I see you've put in a provision that says reduction of overhead costs has been forecast based on external IT infrastructure build. The final calculation is still to be supplied by the Taupo District Council Finance Department. I would request that councillors be given a copy of that when it comes to hand, because I think there is, there is a concern there that is, when you look at this 2.2 in revenue, these overheads do seem quite high. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess because the SOI is in draft, that was where we had to we'll put something in, but I'm happy to come back to that, Nicola. So we'll sign that off in May, I think, once we have your comments come back. So yeah, thank you.
Councillor Hickman?
I just see district signs. You've done some rationalisation of the district signs. Could you just perhaps highlight what those changes are?
Sure. So it's a significant project, and in my first, my 90-day deliverables was to review the budget. So it was quite a high-spend project. So I thought rather than delaying it, we rationalised it. So I think we had 13 sites around the region. We rationalised it down to 6, making sure that the 2 sub-regions still had like a significant sign, and then actually just reduce like what we were doing actually in the town, with the view to re-look at it again. However, yeah, we're working alongside Gemma and the planning team, and one of my team members internally has taken up that project. So we've scheduled to continue on it once we've got that eyesight travel centre relocated, and because the planning and consents team are quite busy at this point, but we've certainly rationalised it that way, but still scheduled it to be implemented in this financial year.
Thank you.
Anything further, Tim?
Just quickly. When you met in Mangakino last week, did they talk to you about Mangakino community development?
Yes.
And about that could potentially fund exercise in that area?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Councillor Williams.
The variances, there's a major increase in rental. I just wondered if you'd like to make a comment about that.
Major increase in rental overall?
Yeah. I think the budget was for 8,000, and there's a figure of 85,101.
Can I come back to you on that, Nicola? Yeah. We'll just get conscious of time.
Sorry, I think it may just be a reallocation of some of the overheads. I'm sure Vanessa can come back to the details, but I think it's actually just a change in the allocation.
Oh, okay, so it's not an actual increase, 1,000% increase.
Councillor Downer?
Oh, well, just on your latest one that you put out, Vanessa, says that the hub relocation complete and saving marginally on rent.
Yeah.
It also says shared services across the hub for better efficiency. So I suppose on the whole, because you've got all those entities in, even they might be paying more rent, pay the efficiency and then it's cheaper.
Yeah.
No, I think it's an allocation of the overheads. It's not to do with the move.
Oh, is it?
It is, but it's 2 slightly different things like mine. But yeah. But we can definitely that would be finishing.
Okay, nothing further. Could we please refer you to page 1 by 1? There's 3 suggested resolutions. The Destination Great Lakes Taupo representatives be thanked for their presentation, and I'm sure we all do that wholeheartedly. And that Council received Destination Great Lakes Taupo 6-monthly report to December 2012, and that Council received Destination Great Lakes Taupo's draft statement for intent of the 13-14 financial year. Will we have a mover, please? Councillor Williams. Seconded, Councillor Downard. All those in favour? Aye. Aye. Carried. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Moving now to agenda item number